I remember my auntie, with her body, she went into this city called Toledo in Spain, and she'd never been to Spain before. She was born and bred in Chile and lives there still. And she looked through her eyes, physical eyes, and she smelled with her physical nose. And she says, oh my God, I know this city. I've been here so many times. I lived here, she said. And then we says, okay, show us stuff. And she showed us, she walked right to their favorite bread store, and they'd been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years, like it's normally in Europe, And the allegedly local church, I mean, the place is full of churches, but the local church, and then she told us what was inside, and we went, and sure enough, that stuff was inside. And then this road, and behind this other road, you're going to see this and this and the other, and sure enough, we turned the corner, and there it was. It was quite amazing, actually.
Welcome
to another episode
of Driving to the Res
with your favorite hosts,
Larry
and Inelia.
The podcast where we expand your awareness about topics.
All sorts of stuff.
All sorts of stuff,
We have a second part to this podcast, Uncensored Deep Dive with an expert panel, and you can find that at Subscribestar. So you know how to do it.
Yeah,
go there, find us, because in this public platform, we can't talk about half the stuff that we want to.
Right.
And we can't reveal half of the information we want to reveal. So, yeah. And you get to support us, of course. Our supporters are the ones who get the deep dives. Today we're going to talk about, is it all about killing short-term memory?
Yeah, it was a really interesting little chat I listened to. I had to share it with you. I forgot who said it.
Very funny, honey, very funny.
Really?
We actually did forget.
No, I've been clearing my aluminum pathways, so I can remember.
More?
I can remember more, yeah.
So where did you hear this conversation?
Well, I heard it a couple of places, actually. One of the more in-depth, detailed
location
deep dives of it was by friend Cliff High. He writes about all kinds of things, and he tends to get fired up. He'll readily admit he gets fired up about certain things.
I've seen him fired up. He's quite funny.
Yes. In this case, his research on his drive, because he's like driving to the res, only he's not going to the res, but he's driving.
Yeah, he's going to the store. Driving
to the
store.
And he lives about as far away from the store as we do.
Yes.
But we started driving our couch so he could hear us better. But, his works too. We might start driving to the res in the truck. We'll see. Anyway, in this case, this article that you wrote reflects some of our thoughts and our expansions on Cliff's discussion about the brain, aluminum in it, and disrupting our memories.
Yes.
And replacing them with other things. Anyway.
Actually, I don't think you went that far.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I thought you did when I heard it. Maybe I remembered it wrong.
I think it's the other guy who said they're going to be replacing it with other stuff.
I think that was the mechanism of
there was the commentary on Cliff's podcast by this other guy whose name I cannot remember, but that's nothing new. Because I never remember people's names.
But you got a shit ton of honey, so.
Yes, I did.
You got mass in you.
Yes.
Which we're working on clearing, by the way.
We are. Yeah, we're working on that.
So anyway, let's read some of the article. See where we go.
Okay, so if you heard the bleep, 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 bleep just earlier, you will be able to hear the full sentence that Larry just said on our deep dive second hour or second part of this podcast. Yay! That goes to our supporters.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let's start reading it.
Yeah. Okay.
The information in this article can send us quickly spinning into a victim-aggressor cycle.
Yes.
Yes. What else can happen? Therefore, take this into consideration. Understand that if you fall into it, or high levels of righteousness, which is usually our
That's
default.
generally our default.
This is not the point of the article.
I'm not trying to get you on a high horse?
No.
Or to fight somebody or battle them?
No.
Okay.
The point is to explore a possible item we would be better served becoming aware of, rather than have no clue about it.
Right, because, I mean, not everybody runs around drinking Cokes in aluminum cans, but most people use aluminum foil.
Yeah, we have aluminum foil in the drawer. And I remember when we first got together, it's like, I don't think we should be using that, darling. But if you're going to use it this side up. And you're like, why?
So annoying. Well, what am I going to use instead of it? You get so used to it. I don't care if it kills me. I want to use it.
Yes. And then every time we'd go, honey, which side was it?
I never got it right. We just switched to that paper instead. What do they call that paper? Wax covered paper. And now I found out that has PTFTs in it. Yes. It's the same stuff as
it gives you man boobs.
Yeah, it's no better. It's not better. So we got to work on a third alternative.
So we have stainless steel aluminum trays with butter on it. And allegedly stainless steel steel.
Stainless steel instead. You got rid of all of our aluminum pans.
Yes.
And we substituted stainless steel instead.
Yes, but now that's bad for you too. So, but not as bad as aluminium, okay? It's not as bad as aluminium. So there you go.
Well,
it's lesser.
I use a carbon steel one.
And then you can just put butter on it and it won't stick. There you go.
See, we're not triggered or righteous or any of that stuff. We're just exploring.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
Larry sent me a link to a video by Hi Cliff. Cliff High. Hi Cliff. Hi Cliff. I hope you're watching this. We love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. If you know Cliff or you are one of his fans, send him a link to this and tell them on minute 6 or so, they say hi to you and they love you.
Okay.
Cliff High called Defend Your Hypo.
Hippo, honey, hippo.
Hypo.
Your hippocampus. Just
Hi,
cut
Cliff.
to the chase.
Talking about hypos.
Did you really listen to this?
I did, yeah.
He never said hype.
I know.
You're funny.
Yes.
That's your hippocampus.
I've gone a little bit
delaminated.
Silly buggers. I've gone a little bit silly on my classes, my podcasts, and all the things. I have no idea why, but I've just talked about the butt equation and
the butt equation.
Yeah. You're full of shit. We all are. Don't worry about it. Don't take it personally, Cliff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
excuse me. I cough in because I'm trying MMS, which is interesting, and I went and breathed the fumes, and I guess that's not a good thing.
Yeah, by accident.
Yes, by accident.
Not on purpose.
The very first warning was, don't breathe the gases. So I opened up the lid and breathed the gases, and I've been coughing for 2 days.
That actually is not surprising. No,
it surprised me because I was being so careful. Anyways, carry on.
Okay.
Find your hippo.
Larry sent me a link to a video by Cliff High called Defend Your Hippo.
Yes.
In this video, Cliff goes into great detail on how short memory works by a hippopotamus.
The hippopotamus?
Yes.
Gosh.
We all have a hippopotamus in our brain.
The hippopotamus is responsible for the short-term memory.
Yeah, the hippopotamus has a big mouth. I saw it. It was in his picture.
Yes,
the picture of his podcast had a big hippopotamus with his mouth. I don't know, maybe the mouth was closed.
Yeah. The hippocampus, right? It's attached to your short and long-term memories. You got to move short-term memories into long-term memories, and and there's a hypothalamus in there too. There's plenty of brain parts.
Yes,
there's a lot of brain research, and when you start researching brain research, you end up reading articles written by neuroscientists, which is sort of like rocket scientists, and they're all using a language that you're not welcome to.
Right.
Either way.
Anyways, if you want to remember this, think hippocampus.
Hippocampus.
Think about the hippos.
And the anterior.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, no, I can't say it for reals. The hippocampus is being attacked at a global scale with injections of aluminium and other metals and chemicals that atrophy this area of the brain in order to easily control the masses. This is his
theory.
Thesis,
Thesis or theory or hypothesis or thoughts.
Yeah.
That's one of the avenues, and that could give you one of the reasons for all the and in your food and in your plants in the ground and in the water, and a lot of it is to interrupt the flow of memory from what you see to what you remember.
Yes,
which could, in some ways, help us explain a little bit of the Mandela effect, right? Because we remember something different than what we saw. No. Anyway,
I don't think it's, okay. He mentions areas of the brain and where memories are kept and how those areas of the brain are being damaged in various ways. This is fascinating information. I have to agree that the effect of damage in these areas of the brain does affect our memories, but unlike him, I do not think that memories are stored in those areas of our brain. I don't think memories are stored in the brain at all.
Right.
Those areas are mechanically at the very fine frequency level. The areas that are used to access our memories.
If they were stored in your brain, then you couldn't have past life memories.
Yes.
Because that's in your other brain.
Yes. I think the brain is more like a radio receiver and... What's it called when it goes out?
An antenna goes out.
Receiver and transmitter. Yeah.
Transmitter, receiver.
Yeah, I think the brain is a transmitter receiver of information, and also has the mechanics to allow us to put things together in certain ways, and interpretation. Yes, there you go.
It might have like a short term, like holding stuff.
I don't think so at all. Like zero. I mean, they say not necessarily the brain. I mean, it might have, but that memories are held all over your body in a way. You can touch your hand in a certain way, and that'll bring you immediately into a memory when you were a little kid and your daddy held your hand, like instantly. Right,
but it doesn't bring you into a memory of a past life where your daddy held your hand.
No,
so
that's true.
Leads a little bit of credence to their
sometimes people have memories. Said, I have seen people who went, I remember my auntie, with her body, she went into this city called Toledo in Spain, and she'd never been to Spain before. She was born and bred in Chile and lives there still. And she looked through her eyes, physical eyes, and she smelled with her physical nose. And she says, oh my God, I know this city. I've been here so many times. I lived here, she said. And then we says, okay, show stuff. And she showed us, she walked right to the favorite bread store, and that'd been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years, like it's normally in Europe, And the allegedly local church, I mean, the place is full of churches, but the local church, and then she told us what was inside, and we went, and sure enough, that stuff was inside. And then this road, and behind this other road, you're going to see this and this and the other, and sure enough, we turned the corner, and there it was. It was quite amazing, actually. And it was full physical body. I
guess I had that same experience in Rome.
You did. So I think that these memories, and the body and the brain have the capacity to tap into them, but they're not stored there.
Okay.
That's my theory anyway. And it is a theory. It's from what I have perceived and put dots together to come up with a theory. Uh-oh.
What did you do? Oh, it's my Siri. Siri wants to get in on the conversation.
Oh my gosh.
Siri.
Go away.
Thank you.
No, don't call her back.
Okay. So he's got
Okay. So although his theory on how this is happening is not quite right to me, the results is
the result is the same.
Yeah, the result is the same.
Whether it's stored there or not stored there, it's gone.
Yes.
It's not
the memory is no longer accessible, or it doesn't go somewhere where you can access it in a put together the dots type of way.
Correct. Like yesterday, or even this morning, we had a after party for our podcast, The We. Mm-hmm. The We Talks, Whose Body Is It Anyway? Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the article and in the middle of the podcast, you had asked 4 profound questions.
Yes, I did ask 4 profound questions in the article.
And in those questions, you didn't produce any answer in the Substack, not in the article. You didn't talk about it at all. But in the podcast, we did.
We did. And we answered those questions.
But nobody
remembered them.
In the after party even remembered there were questions, let alone there were answers to them. This is what we're talking about.
Yes. His thesis is that by removing short-term memory from our senses, stopping it from going into the long-term memory banks, a person cannot properly judge danger.
Yeah.
As they cannot judge danger, evil doing such as killing millions of people around the world with various methods goes unseen.
Which is like the on-purpose part of it, or we're the victims of it part of it, right?
Let's take this information in for a minute.
All right.
The capacity to make long-term memories removes the ability to put the dots together within a linear cycle of awareness.
Indeed. But you just said in a linear cycle of awareness, right?
Linear time cycle.
Linear time cycle of awareness, which is profound if you think about it, because the true nature of these memories and actions, they're all simultaneous. The memory and the action and the thinking and the remembering, all those things are at the same time.
I would say yes, in a way, that is correct, but...
Experienced linearly. Here.
But the way that we choose to perceive them is not all at the same time. That is a little bit at a time. And when we talk about a little bit at a time, we then inject the idea of linearity.
Linearity, yeah, right. Linearity.
Yes.
The lie of linear. Because I know when I've experienced expanded states of awareness,
yes,
I can get the answer to the question at the same time as the question is happening. So by the time the question is fully formed, the answer is already present.
Yes.
They're simultaneous.
Yes.
Not even linear.
So it's like tapping into different dots of awareness, right?
It's a different part of our brain.
Yeah, but we are being told that is linear, which is not. It's just a choice at a time.
Okay. Anyway, that's an interesting thing to, put some dots on.
Putting the dots together is a process that allows us to understand the situation by piecing together different pieces of information that have gathered spatially and through time. If a whole bunch of that information is gone, we can then be fed information to fill the gaps, or remove the gaps altogether by filling it with forgettable and meaningless entertainment stimulation. That's my part, that's not his.
So you make new dots to replace the dots that
are missing.
You replace them with other dots. And those dots tell a different story, so you remember a different reality.
Yes.
In a sense, you experience a different reality because you're remembering a different reality.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And it's also, at a mechanical level, it feels like these highly stimulative dots of information from the entertainment industry that are filled with emotion push the other dots out of the way.
Right. There's a lot of science and study, science being replicated experiments, right? It's even hard to use the word science anymore. It's been so corrupted. But essentially what sets of memories, right, are these things that impact it greatly. Emotional value and repetitions and things like that. I think Cliff talked a little bit about that. There's also the stimulating with electric methods, including wires, but also just cell phone or other high-frequency electrical stimulus of just areas in your brain affect how you're going to remember or not remember.
I remember that from his podcast, but...
He didn't say that. I started to go down the rabbit hole because he opened the hole.
Yeah.
And as I jumped into the hole, I saw, there's a lot going on here.
Yes. The loss of memory aspect of the human collective is not at all new.
No.
I mean, people are talking like it's something brand new and it's just happening now, but it's not, I can assure you. I've seen it since I was a tiny child. Later on in life, I saw how lies and false history, false science, and false ideologies were easily inserted into our collective. More righteousness?
Well, we were just listening to a 3 hour and a half, whatever, podcast about a completely different history of, religion. And, you're like, How?
When, how?
How? And this kind of starts to explain how a whole different memory of an event can come and be emplaced and held, right? It's a mystical art.
It is, indeed.
Mystical, but also chemical, also physical. It's like all realm. It's an all realm art.
Yeah. I figured that we were allowing this to happen so we could experience the light-dark paradigm. You cannot experience it unless you forget who you are. You can't perceive reality properly, or you can't perceive yourself correctly. If all these things are true, then you can have a light-dark paradigm, because once you remove all the falseness of your experience, you cannot have a light-dark paradigm. It's impossible.
Right.
You can only have a light paradigm.
Right. It's so true, right?
As we're now experiencing a split, those of us who are constantly detoxing heavy metals, eating organic, GMO-free foods, and keeping out of pharmaceuticals can detect the loss of memory in other people around us.
Yeah, we become certainly more aware of it.
Within my student groups, it was an ongoing joke that I would say something and it would be forgotten within a few minutes. This has been true my entire life. It is a tool to stay in the light-dark experience, the forgetting. I found that if I repeat the same thing enough times, the person would then have, quote, an original idea, unquote, and come up with the information in their mind as their own personal thought or discovery. What has amused me no end in the past few months is that my students, who are actively seeking, learning, and using my tools, as well as using detoxing methods from well-known experts, are now having the same experience I had since I was born, the experience of having multiple conversations with another person, and that person forgetting they had that conversation soon afterwards. It's been giggle time for me. It's like, welcome to the club.
Welcome to my world.
What does this mean? This means that using my tools works. It works not only in expanding your awareness of reality and being able to perceive yourself and others correctly, but keeping that awareness through time and space without losing that knowledge. At a physical level of ingesting aluminium and other harmful nanoparticles through chemtrails, food, water, and how this affects memory, the person can take physical actions by correctly perceiving what is happening and finding remedies that work instead of falling victim to what has been done to them. That's in quotation marks. Agreement, you see, is the key in all experiences we step into. Making conscious, informed, and aware choices is paramount in us being healthy and retaining our memories. Memories and the discernment of truth and untruth is what makes one person empowered and another a victim. Shall I get off my high horse now?
I think you rode on a high horse. You should keep that horse.
Yes.
And I think you've got it down.
Yeah. We love Cliff, but he really is massively into the victim aggressor cycle. It's like, I think that in recent years, though, it's been coming less of it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think in recent years, he's starting to figure out that it needs his agreement, or it needs another person's agreement for things to happen. And that the agreement can come through falsehoods, through fear, or total ignorance.
Ignorance, yeah.
But
and they say ignorance is bliss, right? That's one of the sayings.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is be ignorant.
Yeah. My son Brett recently said, "Mom, did you know that saying, curiosity killed the cat, is not this entire saying, that it's actually longer?" And I said, "Really? No, I didn't know. I thought that was it." And he says, No. The actual saying is curiosity killed the cat and satisfaction brought it back.
Oh. That can mean a lot of things when you say it that way.
Yes, it can. Anyway, I thought it was interesting because even that is a kind of falsehood, right? It's like to stop people from becoming curious about things.
Right.
Yeah.
It may kill the cat, as in the cat being cat-like, because now he's going to go search out what's in these holes.
Yeah.
And the satisfaction of searching out through those holes will bring him back.
Yeah.
Back to being a cat. I don't know. That's my interpretation.
Yeah. I haven't checked it out. I haven't researched the data, but I thought it was nice, and it was like it made sense when he said it, right?
Yep.
And another thing that I've been talking about in my essays, especially the Woo for Thought, and in my homeworks, is about false information and false signs, like they interjecting or inserting the zero concept into our collective culture. Nothingness. So when you inject zero into numbers, you are already, your subconscious maybe mind is already wobbly and starts feeling afraid because it's not real. Yeah.
Right.
You don't have 9 fingers and a non-existent finger.
I have 9 fingers and a
non-existent
and
finger.
a 1 and an O finger.
Right. It doesn't go into the 1 again.
Oh.
Do you see?
Where does it go then?
Yeah.
There's 9.
Yeah. Where's 10?
Right there.
Yeah. And
What is it then?
One of the things that I found fascinating is that in Roman numbers,
X.
X is number 10. It's the missing one,
X is
right?
also Twitter.
Yes, that's what I was coming to.
X is also Xbox.
Yeah.
X is
so
also...
now X has been hijacked by a certain group on the planet, and it attracts people because people want to know where that last number went. And here it is. They found it, and it's highly attractive, right? So they have commandeered it. And it reminds me a little bit like how the Nazis took a very powerful religious symbol from the Hindu doctrine, and they made it into their logo.
Oh, that swastika thing.
Yeah. I think they reversed it even. And the swastika is originally a powerful mystical symbol. So to me, the X is going that way, or has been taken that way too.
Right, because you're not allowed to use the
wrapped it.
swastika for anything.
No, not anymore.
Not
No.
anymore.
No. And I learned that in England actually, because I went to one of my friends. I can't remember. It was some sort of party, and they had the swastika with other symbols, right, and all sorts of other symbols in their house. And I'm like, wait, are you guys Nazis? Because I'm not very subtle in my questions. And one of the ladies laughed and laughed. I don't know if it was an older sister or a mom or an aunt or a grandma. I can't remember. And she laughed and laughed and said, no. And she told me a little bit about it and said, if you search just a little bit, you're going to find out this is what actually happened. And there was no internet at the time, of course. But there was libraries, and I searched, and sure enough. So to me, the X is being used in the same way. And all conspiracy theorists are saying, yeah, X is evil, X marks the devil, and X this and X that, right? So we can't even look at the X anymore.
Yeah, X is the real 666.
Yeah, all that. And I think it's a hijack also, so that we don't look, where's the number 10? Where's that one?
An
where'd it go?
obfuscation.
Yeah, where'd it go?
Drink some aluminum, and then here we'll tell you what X is.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, I'm probably guessing correctly, that a vast majority of our listeners have figured out ways to detox aluminum, right? Mm-hmm. Cliff mentioned vitamin C, and I think of vitamin E and things like that. Mm-hmm. We've looked into some Ayurvedic herbs. What's that one called that I told you to remember a very short time ago?
Armageddon?
Yeah, that's it. Armageddon.
Wait, that's a hill in Israel somewhere.
That's a hill? That's not the end of the world?
No.
Oh. Are you telling me you forgot?
You forgot?
Well, of course I forgot. That's why I said to remember.
What did you forget, babe?
Andrographis. That was the one.
It's similar. Armageddon and Andrographis.
Yes, you got it. Close.
It's very close.
And I think we use EDTA. That probably does aluminum. And aren't there zeolites and clays and things like that grab on?
Clays can have a lot of metals, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, some clays have leads in them and things.
Yeah, you have to be careful with ingesting clay, I think, or putting it on your skin.
I suppose there's a good experiment. One of the experiments is take all of, try Ascension 101, try all or any of the classes that Inelia's created. You can find them at our Substack, you can find them at our website. See how that affects your memory. Because in the past, when we would do a after party, nobody would remember anything that was in the article. But at least now we remember that we forgot.
That's a step up.
Which is a step forward, because once you've realized you forgot, you can rectify it.
Yes.
And we can rectify it by our long-term memory preservers. Things like we wrote it down. Things like we recorded it.
Oh, can I talk about writing things down, please?
Yes, please.
All right. So, we did talk a little bit about this before. Writing things down, I can't remember where I read it.
No,
but
you can't remember.
I remember the data. It's just that I'm really bad with authors, It's like I cannot remember people's names.
You're just influenced by aluminum. We're cleaning it out.
There you go.
Just say I'm overly influenced by aluminum and I'm cleaning it out.
Right. So, anyways,
also
this person talked about how when you it was like the studies when I was learning to pass my O-levels in England.
I don't remember. I wasn't there.
In England, when I was in school.
I don't even know what O is.
O is ordinary level. When you're 16, you take your ordinary levels. And when you're 18, you take your advanced levels. Okay. So there are O levels and A levels, okay?
So like your SAT, but it doesn't work?
Anyways, there was one exam per subject. And that is a pass-fail. None of the work that you did before counted. So all of your school career didn't count.
Except for if you got that particular part of the O-level right.
You had to take the exam. If you passed the exams, you had your O-level. If you didn't pass the exam, you didn't.
I thought the O-level was the exam.
Yes. If you passed it, you got your O-level.
Oh, if you pass it, you got it.
Yeah.
If you don't pass it, you don't got it.
Even
if you don't have it, then you can't continue on.
Entire life. No, you can't.
You just get kicked out and got to go to work?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, then.
So one of the tricks was when you write.
Yes, when you write your O-level test?
When you're studying to pass your exam the night before.
Okay.
One way to affect your memory so that you actually remember things is to write in script.
Cursive?
Yes.
Oh, for crying out loud.
In script. So your script, the letters are joined. And they said that typing, when you write in type, as in all the letters are separate, you cannot retain the stuff as well. Writing down notes removes short-term memory because your body knows it's got it on a book now. So it doesn't allow you to keep it.
Sort of like Google Maps means you can't figure out how to get from here to there because the maps remember for you. You don't need to anymore.
Yes.
Some kind of a thing?
Yes.
Okay. So,
anyways, when you join the letters, then you remember better. So I started joining all the letters and the words. Oh. So, you had to remember everything the next day.
So if there's anything I want you to remember, I just ask you to give it to me in script.
Yes.
We'll try it out.
Mm. So, anyways, that was one of the things. And what I found was that, so writing, and then when I was looking, became very curious about that, how much people knew about this. And I found one of the Greek philosophers talking about it. I can't remember which one, but again, probably Aristotle or something.
You didn't write him in script.
I didn't write it in script. When they had those schools, writing was prohibited. As a form of learning. Right? So to me, that was fascinating.
It is.
Yeah. And typing, and now all we do is type because mostly we don't even use our hands to write anymore. We use a keyboard, right?
I tried to write something the other day.
You did?
Yeah. Can you see on the fridge? It's mostly scribbly. So we should need a typewriter for this fridge. That'd be a good invention. Mm-hmm. Something that you type, like I type it here, and it shows up on the fridge in notes. $1 million idea. Just
It's
did
called
it.
an iPad.
I'm not going to stick my iPad on the fridge. I'm telling you. A little, like, it's like the, the pen thing.
Yeah.
Except for type it instead on your iPad or your computer, and then push, and it shows up on your fridge.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, smart devices. We're trying to get dumb devices.
I don't know about that.
Wi-Fi's.
I don't know about. I mean, we don't live in that world anymore. We don't. That's the problem. See, and I see that as the problem. It's like the solution to the problem is not to revert to an old life that we no longer even want.
So here's the thing. All the technology that we use these days is replacing our memory. So now we have internet, we have notes, we have calendars, we have maps. We have all the things that in the past we would use to remember things.
Yeah.
So we would use those muscles and mechanically necessary parts in your brain to retain all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's gone. Now, the other thing is,
I got a big butt.
To me,
I don't really have a big butt. I've got one big butt I want to put on here.
Okay, put your butt on there.
Chimpanzees have very, very, very excellent memory for things. Like you show them thing and they can resolve it to the cats or the dogs or the mice or whatever. And where's that getting them? They don't got internet and TVs and Wi-Fi's and
how is your life different to a chimpanzee?
Way dramatically different. They're like Stone Age, man. They're not even Stone Age yet. They don't even use the rocks right. Just saying.
Yes.
But their memory is frickin' stellar. Our memory, we're going to be using it for a different thing.
What are you going to be using it for?
Oh, probably for creating a new paradigm. We'll be using that excess thing that we don't need to use for like recall all the time. Because we have recall on tap.
Yes. Anyway, what was I going to say to you before you told me about your big butt?
You're talking about memory and not having it good anymore because all of these other things hold the memory for you now. So where do we go with that?
So you can put all sorts of false memories into that stuff and you think it's real and true.
Well, I know that's happening. I could see that, and I wonder how they can possibly remember things like that. And they don't even remember it. They think that's how it is. And maybe that's because that's how they remember it? Because the memory was put there or something?
So the false memories, the false information, like a zero, and all these type of things really shake a person quite deeply. And I have found that the main thing that degrade a person's health is stress.
Right.
And the levels of stress that people are experiencing in this modern life is out of this world. It's just insane. But anyways, it feels to me that a lot of it has to do with that. I mean, who's feeding off the fear, And yeah. So let's deep dive. Let's go to the next level of this conversation. It's getting really interesting.
There's a lot of things to scratch on.
Indeed, with an expert panel. And next time we'll actually have a detailed description of our expert panel.
You want to have a detailed description? Not just the names?
Yes.
Well, we have a doctor, we have an engineer, we have a corporate recruiter, and we have I would call, let's say,
architect?
An architect, yeah. Very highly regarded professionals.
All of them.
Mystics. Mystics as well.
Yes.
So, yes. I think that sounds interesting. Why don't we go check it out?
All right.
Okay. See ya.
So that's part of it, I think, when you get really exhausted with looking at labels and taking your supplements and putting on your EMF support things and staying away from the low frequency entertainment, and you can't watch TV anymore because even the television is broadcasting nasty stuff and all the things, right? Then you get exhausted. Then remember that you don't have to carry the whole weight. You can allow the high frequency human collective. You can allow Gaia to support you.